Hey everybody, thanks for returning for the second half of this HPA build video. Before we get back into the build itself though, I wanted to talk a little bit more about HPA. For instance, why HPA? Why would someone spend so much money to get into an HPA system? What are the benefits? What are the real reasons to HPA? For me personally, it's tunability and quiet. More so in an HPA gun than any other gun in my opinion. You can tune it to exactly what you want for that day. Let's say you're going to a field that has a high FPS limit. You can simply turn your HPA tank up and your PSI increases, your FPS increases. You can go into the FCU and you can tune your rate of fire to go up or down depending on your scenario or the field limits where you're playing at. Your trigger sensitivity, you can tune it to just a fine little hair and with no resistance at all. There are various other ways that you can customize your guns. You know, the fire rate, single binary burst. There are all these things that are super easy to do when you're doing it HPA. When you're using an AEG, it's a lot harder to do things like put in a tunable trigger and a new MOSFET and different springs to make your FPS go up and down. All these things require going into a gearbox, and in my opinion, that requires a tech because that type of tech work going inside of a gearbox is beyond me. I can't deal with all the little springs and stuff like that. So HPA is much easier to build and much easier to tune, in my opinion. Let's say, for instance, you're going to a milsim event and you want to play as a DMR class, but DMRs are semi-locked only, but they also get to use a higher rate of fire, or a higher FPS. So you go onto your FCU, you change your firing modes to safe, semi, and semi, and then you crank your PSI up to where your FPS is 2 joules or whatever the FPS is for the DMR class, and you get to play it as a DMR. But the next week, you're going to a CQB field where, you know, it has much lower FPS limits, but they also allow you to use full auto. So you can simply go into your FCU, change it to, you know, safe, full auto, burst, safe, full auto, binary, safe, semi, full, whatever you want to set it to. And then you can crank your rate of fire up to whatever the max is allowed at your field. And you can have a little full auto firing SMG one day and a long range DMR the next. That's what I mean when I say tunability with an HPA gun. The second thing that's really big for me is the noise that it makes. You can put a foam-filled mock suppressor on the end of an HPA gun and it will take so much of the noise out of that sound. So you can be firing at enemies, they'll have no idea where you're firing from, which gives you a huge advantage on the battlefield, in my opinion. There are other people that play CQB that prefer a loud pop, you know, a real scary sound when an HPA goes off. And so they'll put like an amplifier on the end of their gun. And that goes back to the customization and the tunability. You could have a gun that sounds scary and is loud and pops, or you can have a gun that's almost completely silent and people can't hear where you're coming from. You can do all of this with HPA without having to do a whole lot of work. So in my opinion, these are the reasons to get into HPA. These are the reasons that it's worth the money. In saying that, I would like to also state what HPA isn't, okay? This is not an HPA gun, despite the fact that it has an HPA tap on it. This is not an HPA gun, despite the fact that I could put an HPA tap on it and it looks like a carbine, right? These guns are what are called gas blowback guns. They function entirely differently than an HPA gun. They don't have a HPA engine in them. They're much louder. The sound doesn't come out the barrel, it comes out the side. So when somebody says, oh, I want an HPA gun, and they think I'm just gonna put adapter on my pistol, that's not an HPA gun. You're not getting the tunability. You're not getting any of the benefits that I said when I was like, why do you get into HPA? So in my opinion, this isn't really the route to go unless you're specifically playing at an indoor field that doesn't allow HPA. Like me, I play at Tacoma Airsoft Center a lot. They don't allow HPA, but they do allow green gas. So we'll take a gun like this or a gun like this, and we will put an HPA tap on it, but then we'll use green gas to plug into that HPA tap and we can still use it at TAC. So when somebody says that they want or that they have an HPA gun and then they show up to a field with a converted pistol that has an HPA tap in it, that's not really HPA. Yes, technically it's using high pressure air. It's still a gas blowback gun that is just being fueled by high pressure air. It is not an HPA gun. So I wanted to make that distinction because I know there are some friends of mine out there who are thinking about dabbling in HPA and they just want to kind of stick their toe in the pool to see how it feels. And if they do that and they put a tap on their pistol and they go out and play with it, they're going to get the wrong impression of what HPA feels like, you know? But beyond that, let's finish off the build and let's go ahead and see how I went from where I started at to this butte right here. All right, let's get into it. We're going to pick up right where we left off in the last video with the gearbox assembled, ready to get put in the receiver. This should be a pretty easy process, but let's get to it. All right, next we're going to take out the pins as best we can. All right, receiver is ready to take the gearbox. So we're going to go ahead and fit the air line through the grip hole. We're going to fit this wiring harness and FCU through the back of the stock right here. And then it should just drop right in. Okay, it looks like we have a little bit of a fitment issue here on the bottom of the trigger hole. It looks like it's not wanting to accept the speed trigger, so we might need to Dremel out a little bit right here. All right, so I went ahead and I Dremeled out some of the bottom here of the trigger hole so that the receiver should slide right in easily without getting caught up on the trigger. Remember, keep this in between safe and fire and it'll accept this selector plate a lot easier. There we go, like a glove. Now I'm going to go ahead and secure the pins. All right, we got the set pin in. Put this back pin in next. All right, next in we'll put the mag release back in there. Now that the mag release is on, we're going to put the grip on here. Grip should be easy. There's a hole right here in the bottom for the grip line to go through. And then we'll just secure that in here with these two screws. All right, guys, so I went ahead and got this hand tightened in here. You don't want to tighten these ones too much or it might knock your engine out of alignment, and I will tell you guys all about nozzle alignment later. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and fit the upper receiver with our inner barrel and our new hop-up. Like I said, this is a budget build, so what I'm doing for my friend is any spare parts that I have laying around, like inner barrels and receivers, I'm just going to give him for free to make his build with. But for stuff that we need for the build, like the conversion kit and this hop-up and the HPA engine itself, I'm gonna have him, he's gonna redeem me for those, for the things that I actually had to spend money on. He's gonna redeem me for that. But besides that, I'm gonna go ahead and hook him up with anything that I can find around my house to save him money on. So we're going with this inner barrel, but before we do anything with that, we're gonna go ahead and take our cleaner with a little bit of swab on there, and we're just gonna run it through the barrel a few times just to make sure there's no old debris in here, no little streaks of BB debris or dirt. There we go, got it. Totally clean. Not sure if you guys can tell or not, but totally clean. Then we're gonna take our Lancer Tactical hop-up unit that we got off of Amazon for only 20 bucks, I think. Less than $25, and it comes with a bucking and a rotary hop-up. So we're gonna go ahead and get that installed. Your bucking is going to be one of the easiest upgrades that you can do at home with little experience. You just look on the inside of the hop-up for the little nub, the little long track, and you fit it to this slot right here in your barrel and slide it all the way on there. There we go. Now this hop up the arm isn't already installed, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick and come back to you guys. All right, so in lieu of buying a barrel retention piece for the conversion kit, which it doesn't come with for some reason, I'm gonna go ahead and cannibalize this outer barrel, which I already have busted off the thread on the front, so this is basically useless to me anyway. I'm gonna just chop off this part right here. Okay, so I went ahead and got the inner barrel completely installed. Bucking's on, barrel's in, got the clip installed here, got the little locking nut or whatever, arms installed, got the spring on the front. There's also a spring that goes over the inner barrel, but I'm not sure how well that's going to work with this retaining piece. So let's just see how it fits in the upper for now. So the retaining piece that I have shaved off goes in like this. That's going to hold the inner barrel in place, along with the conversion kit that we put on the front of this. Now, if this hop up goes all the way to the front of the receiver, then we have done our job right and we are in luck. Hell yeah. Goes all the way to the front. Perfect, that's what we're looking for. Now, next step, let's get the conversion kit installed in this thing, huh? Before we get the conversion kit, let's actually get the upper put on the lower. Oh, and it is that easy, my friends. It is that easy. Next step, getting that conversion kit put on here. Here's the conversion kit that my buddy picked out for this build. It's by Thunder Tactical. It's actually a rail cannon conversion kit that lights up and everything. Believe it or not, this conversion kit only cost $89 on eBay. So you could do the same budget build, you know, take the upper receiver and the lower that I had, and then put on any generic stock that you want, or any front rail that you want, and outer barrel. But to be completely honest with you, if you buy a brand new stock and a brand new outer barrel to put in, a brand new rail to put on your gun, it might be comparable in price to this conversion kit. So if you get this, it's everything in one. It's the back and the front, and it's going to look really cool, and it's going to glow up. So let's get it installed. All right, we're going to go ahead and start with the upper assembly. So we're going to need this guy. And we're going to need our barrel nut. And we're going to need some little screws. We're going to start off putting our barrel nut over our barrel stabilizer. Easy peasy. Next, we're going to actually put this over the front of it. Before I do that, I'm going to loosen these screws up here on the top. Looks as though I have done this the hard way, but that's fine. One last screw here to get in on the top rail. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and hand tighten all these top ones. All right. Next, I'm gonna screw in the set screws to go in here. All right, now that should be the upper assembly assembled. We have a pull to activate the battery thing now. I'm not sure if I should do that or if I should let the guy I'm building it for do that. So I'm gonna leave that for now, and we're gonna get started getting that backside on here. All right, well guys, I am a bona fide idiot. I just went to go pull out the rear stock piece, and I looked, and sure as shit, there is a barrel retention piece included in here. They did not say that in the, or they said that there wasn't in the instructional video I watched on it, so that's good to know that they do have one included. All right, for this one, we're gonna wanna go ahead and loosen these screws first. Once we got everything loose, this all should just slide right over the stock. We're gonna open it up on the battery compartment here in the rear. And we should be able to feed our wires right up through in here. All right, so we'll feed the wire up in through here. Tighten these down. All right, guys, I think we got it built. The last step here in the battery compartment from the instructions is this part right here is supposed to connect to your battery's charge port. So, but that's not looking right to me. That is not looking right to me for my battery. For right now, we're just going to get everything hooked up and test functionality of the gun. Battery and FCU and everything should all go into here pretty easily. That closes down. I want to make sure that everything is working. We're going to take this battery thing out. I'm going to turn this on. And that is not working. So we'll see what's up with this battery. Oh shit, light came on. Look at that. Oh, it went back off again. Oh, does it come on just interspersed? I think it just glows like that. Pretty cool though. All right, now that I got the LiPo battery in there and connected, let's make sure that we can still hear it firing on semi or in full. Heck yeah. All right. Let's get an air tank hooked up to this and go do some test shooting. All right, here goes, guys. Moment of truth. Let's see if it fires. Oh yeah, she fires. Let's see a little bit of that full auto, huh? Woohoo, baby. All right, now I would like to show you guys, since we're talking about HPA, I want to explain to you guys the importance of a foam-filled suppressor. A foam-filled suppressor is actually going to mute the sound of your HPA engine more than any other gun. This will mute the sound more than an AEG. This will mute the sound more than a gas blowback. all the sound that an HPA gun makes comes out the tip of the barrel because all the air is pushed through here and out the front of the barrel. So if you have a nice foam-filled suppressor on the end, listen to the difference that this makes. See? Much, much quieter. Okay, so another major part of building an HPA gun, once you've got it all assembled, is going to be your nozzle alignment. That's going to be the little tip that comes out of the engine, the plastic nozzle, how it aligns with the center of your hop-up. A lot of people aren't aware of this when they build HPA guns, and then they get terribly inaccurate shots and BBs that overhop and do all kinds of crazy stuff, and they have no idea why. And oftentimes it's because their nozzle is out of alignment with the rest of their hop-up and inner barrel and stuff. So I'm going to show you guys a really quick and easy way to check your nozzle alignment and then maybe adjust it if you need to. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to shine a light up into your mag well. What that'll do is it will illuminate up through the hop up, and you'll be able to look down your barrel and see what your nozzle alignment looks like. Let's see if I can get it good on cam. We're gonna see if we can. Oh, perfect. Now you guys see that? Way down in there, you should be able to see the nozzle. The nozzle is the white ring in the center of all those circles. Now, you see how it's aligned like that? It's dead center in the middle of the inner barrel. That is perfect alignment. However, if you look down your barrel and you see that your nozzle is sitting a little low in the inner barrel, a little high on the inner barrel, or left or right, you're going to want to adjust where your gearbox is sitting in your receiver. This can be very difficult, and it can be a pain in the butt and a super big headache for people if they aren't sure how to do it. So let's say your nozzle is too low, right? It's sitting on the lower side of your hop up. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to find some way to either screw in down here and have a little set screw that you can push up on the bottom of the gearbox to make the whole gearbox go forward or go upward. That's a pain in the butt to do. You can also, in some cases, just tighten either the screws in your grip or the screws in your stock to help sort of pull up the front of your gearbox. That doesn't always work. Low alignment on gearboxes is terrible, and I hate it. With left or right alignment, it's a bit easier. You can take your gearbox out and you can put strips of electrical tape on either the left or the right side and just keep doing that until that nozzle alignment is dead center how you want it. So you're gonna really wanna focus on your nozzle alignment. If you're already an experienced HPA tech and you don't know about nozzle alignment, now's the time to learn. You could YouTube, Google, just whatever you want, look up nozzle alignment, look up how to get it set, but this is one of the most crucial parts of an HPA build is the nozzle alignment. That sure was a fun build, wasn't it? And in my opinion, this thing turned out looking great. I cannot wait to get this back to my buddy who had me commission it for him, or commissioned me to make it for him. I kind of wanted to go over a little bit of the price tag for this item and what I was charging my friend. The gun itself, the engine, cost me $262. The only other things that I bought for this build were the conversion kit that came out to about $100 and the hop-up unit, which came out to about $25. Everything else I gave my buddy for free because I had them on hand. I had the body, I had the speed trigger, I had the inner barrel. So since it's a friend of mine, I went ahead and just gave him those parts for free, and I only charged him for what I actually spent money on. And at the end of the day, this came in at just under $400. So in my opinion, that's a really, really affordable HPA gun if you want to get into it and you want all those awesome advantages that I was talking about earlier. Yeah, less than 400 bucks. And you know, if let's say you don't have a spare body, you know, and you have to get the whole shell, right? Well, instead of spending the $89 or the $100 that my buddy spent on the conversion kit, you could spend the $100 on a donor body, you know, like an empty G&G Camelback machine, you know, body they're selling on Hop Up for less than 100 bucks easy. So you can get a full body for the same price that my buddy paid for the conversion kit. So you can still get an affordable HPA gun for under $400.